Good morning, evening, afternoon, everyone. My name is Mark.
And I'm Zoe.
And we are the Board Adventurers. We're coming at you today with our very first top 10 list. And this one's a pretty big one.
Yep.
We're going to do our top 10 new to us games this year. Now, as a caveat, we don't have the capability of playing that many games in one January to December year. We're still also catching up to a lot of games that have come out in the past 10 to 20 years. Mm-hmm. And so we're only playing games that we're kind of intrigued at. And our list is going to be a combination of both games that came out in 2023 and previously.
Yeah.
So how did you make your list?
Yeah, so we played a lot of games this year.
I think we did.
That are new to us. So what I did is I jot down all the games that I enjoyed that I wouldn't mind having in the top 10.
Right.
And I utilized Pub Meeple to essentially stack rank them, which was about 18 games.
Right.
Yeah. So it's going to be a good amount of honorable mentions.
Yeah.
And
nice.
It was pretty good utilizing Pub Meeple, and I'm pretty satisfied with what my top 10 is.
Yeah.
What about you?
I also used Pub Meeple for mine. I was able to whittle my games down to about 25. Threw it into Pub Meeple, and then it spit out that list.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that two games that didn't fall into it. One I was very surprised didn't make my top 10, but we'll get to that in honorable mentions.
Yeah.
And then I did make one change at the very end. I switched my 9 and 10.
Nice. I mean, the big takeaway is that we played a lot of good games this year.
Yeah, and I feel like based on what we just played this past couple weeks, it's going to be a good 2024.
Yeah, and true to our late to the game thing that we normally do, there was a lot of games that are just pretty popular that we haven't played yet, that we checked out, that we were really surprised by.
Yep.
That we enjoyed as much, specifically me.
Yeah.
Like there's a really heavy game on my list, and there's a co-op game on my list.
Yeah.
Which is not typically things that I go for.
Right.
So I was pretty satisfied with what we played.
Yeah. Do you think we're going to have any overlap?
There's going to be a good amount of overlap.
Okay. We want to try to estimate how much we're going to overlap.
I'd say definitely at least 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we haven't shared our list with each other, so this is the first time we're hearing about it. But I want to say we're going to at least share 4.
Yeah.
I think you might be surprised about one I picked, so I'm going to go with 5, actually.
Okay.
All right. So with that being said, we'll start with our number 10. Do you want to start?
Sure. Yeah, I can start. So for my number 10, this is a co-op game. It's a pretty heavy co-op game. One that I wanted to play for a while. And like there are people in our friends group who really enjoy this game. So they actually got down to sit down and teach us how to play this game. This is Spirit Island.
Oh, nice.
I was really surprised by it because I wasn't sure if this was going to be something that kind of, part of my taste. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed really the asymmetry that's a part of this game. Like our friend group that has this have all the expansions, all the characters, so we're really able to look through and pick a character. It seems interesting.
Yeah, we're fortunate enough that our friend group loves this game so much. We have 2 to 3 friends that are just adore it.
Yeah, and it's because it's a heavy game. It really helps to have someone kind of bring you along into the game and know the game inside and out.
Right, you don't have to learn it yourself.
Yeah, that really helped in terms of my enjoyment of it. But I really love the asymmetry. Like the times that I played it, each time felt pretty different based off of the characters that I chose, and I just love asymmetry. So
characters just feel so different sometimes.
Yeah.
That's a good choice.
Yeah. So number 10, Spirit Island.
All right, nice. My number 10 is a game that I only played once this year. I played it with you.
Yeah.
Which makes me think it might be on your list for where it is. We played it with some friends that came up from Maryland. And it's a long game, but it was so good when we played it. This is Wonderland's War. Wonderland's War is just it's Alice in Wonderland themed. And there's 2 parts to it. So the first part is just a tea party where you're just walking around the table trying to pick up 4 cards.
Yeah.
Those are going to be used as a bag building concept in the second round, which is going to be an area control. And you're basically just now drawing out of a bag and you're trying to maybe push your luck into controlling a region. And then if you win that region, you get to place a castle. And at the end of the game, if you have certain amounts of castles plus certain amounts of resources, then you'll win the game off of that.
Yeah.
This game can be long. I think it took us about 4 hours the first time. Like, that was learning the rules as well. But I remember distinctly in the game, I drew one of those curse tokens, or one of those little tokens that had to make me exhaust all my trips.
Yeah.
And I outright stated, this game sucks. And then in my next sentence, I stated, I love this game.
Yeah.
That was such a crazy moment because I was getting to the point where I was thinking I could win that round, and then it just blew everything up, and I was like, this is awful.
Yeah, no, the game is good, and it's fun, and it really utilizes this theme very well.
Yeah,
it's pretty fun. Yeah, it's good.
I want to get around to playing another round of this. I think it's been great. And we played it at the top. We played it at 5, and then I played the Jabberwock. I think you had played.
I don't remember.
I forgot who you played. Maybe the Queen of Hearts, maybe?
I think it was a Cheshire Cat.
Cheshire Cats, okay. Yeah. But it was fun. Well, I want to play this again. So that's my number 10, Wonderland's War.
Cool. Good choice. So my number 9 is a game that can be primarily played at 2 players. And I love 2-player games. I love the 2-player battle and 2-player tug-of-war games. Yeah. And this is a 2-player battle game that has some card play elements to it as well that I really enjoyed. This is Unmatched Cobble and Fog.
Oh, nice.
This is the first time playing an unmatched game. And it kind of, it was a really, really good play. And we played it a couple times. And the asymmetry in that also is very sound and very good. It made us want to play more unmatched sets.
Right.
But I really enjoyed the battle aspect of it. It works really well. The board looks simple, but there's a lot of movement going around and like chasing and attacking. It just really
deceptively
works.
Simple how this game is.
Yeah, and the card play is really good.
Yeah,
the card play is really impressive. So definitely one that I really enjoyed this year. But yeah, that's my number 9, Unmatched Cobble and Fog.
You have the Tales to Amaze, right?
I do have Tales to Amaze. It was like, I think after we played it, Tales to Amaze was on Kickstarter, and I was like, let me go ahead and back this game.
Yeah. You haven't popped it yet, right?
No. Definitely want to...
I think we're going to have to try that out, because there's some hype going on right now for this game.
Yeah, that's definitely on the list to play.
Yeah. All right, nice. That's a good choice.
Thank you.
My number 9 is a game that I don't think you've played yet. This is a game that my wife and I first played at Dice Tower East back in July. And I loved it so much that I decided to go out and buy it. This is Revive.
Oh, okay.
Revive is like right here. And I when I first played this game, I was blown away with the concept of what it was. So Revive in the simplest form is it's post-apocalyptic. You're coming out of the ground because the world is getting reborn almost. Yeah. And you can, in terms of gameplay, you can do one of 5 different things. You can play a card, so you have your own player board, and you can slot a card into one of the 4 slots available, and you can unlock a 5th slot. But when you slot it, you get whatever resources on the top or the bottom, depending on where you slot it in.
Gotcha.
The other thing you can do is you can flip a switch that gives you a resource. You can move. The board is basically like all these 4 hexagonal tiles. You can flip them, and then you can rotate them to any way. Whenever you build a building in a space, it has to be in sand space. Yeah. You get to go up this track that's on your own player board, and the track does a whole bunch of other things too. Yeah. It's basically just a whole bunch of efficiency puzzles that lead you into getting the highest amount of victory points. And the game ends when you take a certain amount of these little pieces off the board that you'll get as you play. Yeah. But this game blew me away when I first played it. It's cool now just because we haven't gotten it to the table. Yeah. But I do want to get around to playing more of it this year. Nice. Revive to me was a great play.
Cool. Yeah, it's definitely something. My
number 9.
Nice. Definitely something I want to check out this year.
I want to try to teach it because I was reading the rule book again this week, and I was like, oh man, I want to table this.
Nice. Yeah. Good stuff. So my number 8 is an engine building game. A two-phase engine building game, which I'm starting to slowly learn that it's a thing that I really enjoy, especially when what you're building is very unique. This is Fantastic Factories.
Ooh, Fantastic Factory.
I really like the main thing I like about Fantastic Factory is how unique the cards are that you're bringing into your engine. I think whenever engine building kind of fails for me is when it's kind of the cards that you're getting or whatever you're building is too samey.
Right.
Like Fantastic Factories, the cards are going to do unique things. You're building a very unique engine, and I really enjoyed that aspect of that game.
Yeah, you were definitely blown away from that first play.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. I really enjoyed it because there's a number of engine building type games that I played that, there's one that I really was hyped for. I played it, and I don't want to spoil it, but I played it, and I was like, the cards aren't that unique, and that really has to hit for me.
Right.
For an engine building game to get me.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah, it was a fun playthrough. It's a very colorful game. It's a dice placement game.
Yeah.
Which is also pretty fun too. That I really enjoyed. But yeah, it was a great game. So my number 8, Fantastic
Factories just missed my list.
Oh, did it? Oh,
I really thought it would make my list. I thought it would be the 10.
Got it.
And then as I looked at my list, I was like, I guess it's number 11.
What's funny, I thought it wouldn't make my list.
Yeah?
And then
I had expected it to make your list. I thought it would be higher, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm surprised as what makes your list this year.
Nice. Cool.
Right.
That's my number 8.
All right, number 8. We have hit our first crossover already on this list. Do you know which one it is?
Crossover. This is unmatched.
It is unmatched.
Yeah.
Cobble and Fog. That's the one we have. We haven't played the other one, the Tales to Amaze, but we first played Cobble and Fog, I think, early this year, this past year, and it was such a clean, game. The only thing you do on your turn is you have one of 3 actions, right? You can play a card, you can maneuver, which is you draw a card and you move. Then you can scheme, which is you can perform one of those lightning bolt cards, or you can attack. And then you have the cards that are specifically for attack, defense, or for both. And the number and the effect just reads out on its own. It is deceptively simple game, but there's so much gameplay that you could do with this game. When you think you can't hit your opponent, you could be like, well, I'm in blue. I just need to move 2 spaces to red. I'll be within range of this person. Or I could send this person in, and one of my cards lets me switch characters. So like sometimes some characters will give you a sidekick or some sort of like other unit, and you'll interact with that unit differently based on what cards you have. This game is great. I want to play more Unmatched. I want to get more into this system. Some of our game group really enjoyed playing the 2 player. This goes up to 4, which is you play as a team. But I'd rather just play this as a 2 player.
Yeah, this feels like a 2-player battle game.
Yeah.
As opposed to kind of like a 4-player kind of thing.
Yeah, and I feel like teams will just muddy up a lot of things. There's not a lot of space on the board to begin with.
Yeah. And
having multiple, units moving around, you can get bombarded a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely feels like just a 2-player game.
Cool. Yeah, that is my number 8. That's a great game. This is Unmatched.
Nice. Good stuff. So my number 7 is a game that tries to do something I typically don't really enjoy. I love strategy and in my games. This game is not that. There is 0 strategy in this, but it is pure fun.
Oh, okay.
This is Thunder Road Vendetta.
Oh, this was on your list to play this year.
This was on my list to play this year.
We got one down.
We got it on the table.
Yeah,
it's a straight up what you kind of think Fast and Furious should be as a board game. This is what that game is. It's just you want to hit other cars.
Right.
You're running into things. It's a dice chucker as well.
Right.
It's just pure fun. But what makes it kind of the strength of the game is also why it's not higher in my list. There's no strategy in this. It's just kind of start the game, hit other cars, have fun, laugh at what you can and can't do. But you're not really planning out much what you're doing.
Right.
But it's still a really, really fun game.
Thunder Road was fun, but I would say I think you liked it more than I did. I like a little more strategy in my games, and I was trying to get into the I can't control a lot that happens in this game. But I think you needed to play this game with the max player count for you to have fun with this.
You need as many vehicles on the board as possible.
Yeah, because when we played with 3, it wasn't as effective as when we played it with 4.
Yeah, this definitely needs to be played with 4, but it's still a very fun game.
Yeah, and then we don't even have the expansions for it, right?
No, this is just base.
Yeah, I've heard the expansion is pretty good.
Yeah,
I'm in some things to it.
I'm curious about the expansions. I don't know how often I'm going to table a game like this.
Yeah.
Our group kind of prefers more strategies type stuff.
Yeah, they like a little more crunchy when it comes to their games.
Yeah, so I don't know.
It makes it hard to cater for them, but like I'm with them on that one too.
Yeah, no, I totally agree there. I just don't think it's going to be tabled enough to justify a purchase of the expansion.
Yeah.
But I'm curious about what it brings to the table. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It's my number 7, Thunder Road Vendetta.
That's great. My number 7. Sorry, I forgot where we were. My number 7 is a game that you were really looking forward to this year, and I was a little okay with it. I wasn't sure where I was going to go with it, but then we ended up getting it for you, as at Dice Tower East. It was during their auction.
Okay. Yeah.
And the first time I had played it, I actually was very fortunate that when I was at the World Series of Board Gaming, that Z Garcia from the Dice Tower was able to teach me this game.
Oh, nice.
And this game is Abyss.
Cool.
This is one of his favorite games of all time, and I can see why.
Yeah.
This game is... it's a Bruno Cathala game.
Yeah,
I'm a fan of his games as well. But this game is, again, deceptively simple for the amount of gameplay that you add into it.
Yeah.
So the first thing you do, you have 3 things, again, that you can do in this game. You can take an ally, you can take a set of allies of one color, if they're available, or you can buy one of the influencers that are at the bottom of the board. And it's one of those 3, and then you're racing to I believe 7 victory conditions.
Yeah.
What happens is when you're trying to flip over allies is whenever you flip an ally on your turn, you don't get the first pick for it. Everyone else gets a chance to buy it from you for 1 pearl. And these pearls are so important because they'll pay for things, like they'll pay for cards that you want from your opponent. Yeah. And then you're using these colors, like almost in a set, to influence a certain influencer to your board. And then when you get like 3 keys, you get to unlock a location, and that gives you victory points. Yeah. This game is great. I was a little hesitant to learn it because I wasn't sure I would like it. Yeah, but playing it was quite a good game. Much so that when I came back and taught you, I was like, oh man, this game has a lot of kind of strategy, and it's quick. You could play this in less than an hour for almost like a lot of chewy gameplay. So
it's a great game, and it's very similar to Aquatica. With the theme, and I think this one is better. Yeah, and I'm not one who follows designers, right? But I haven't come across a Cathala game that I don't like. And there's a number of games designed by him that's like on my all-time list.
No, that's totally fair. So I really like this game. I want to play more of this too. Yeah, so that's my number 7, Abyss.
Nice. So my number 6 is a small card game, and I do enjoy small card games. I really do enjoy simple, fast games that have like a lot of strategy to them. Okay.
Could be one of two.
Could be one of two. But this is one that recently played. This is Seesaw and Paper.
Oh, nice.
I really enjoyed this game. It just kind of works the main mechanism of if you go into a certain amount of points, which I believe is 7, and if you have 7, you can call the game for one more round or not. Right. And I kind of like that because it's kind of like this decision of like, do I have enough points? I have up to 7, but I don't know if the next player has 8, 9, 10, and trying to decide when to try to call the game or not. Yeah. And there's this kind of this mental back and forth a little bit. It's a clever game in that sense. When you were teaching me this, I was like, oh, that's a weird little rule. But when I was playing the game, I was like, oh, this makes sense. This is fun.
Yeah. Sometimes you just want to keep pushing yourself. Yeah.
Like,
I could get more points.
And you kind of seeing what other people are picking up, and it was like, ooh, they might have a lot of points from that, and it's good. And you don't have to play the cards that you have right away. You can hold on to them. so they really don't know how many points you have or what you're going for. It's good. I really enjoyed it. It kind of surprised me because it wasn't on my list. Again, it's another Cathala game. This is Bruno Cathala.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even realize.
I could be completely wrong, but I'm almost positive it's Bruno Cathala.
I think you might be right. If it's maybe a co-designer.
Yeah, it might be code. If it's not, I'm putting a note right here.
Yeah.
Whether this is Bruno Cathala or not.
Right here.
But yeah, this is definitely one that kind of surprised me. I really enjoyed it.
Wow, I didn't know you enjoyed this game that much.
Yeah, and I've only played this 2-player so far. We played this good amount of rounds.
Wow.
Mainly played this 2-player. I do want to see what it plays like with a lot more people.
I think you're gonna like it.
Yeah,
and our group just loves this game.
Nice.
It's it's a great game.
Cool. Well, but that's my number 6. Sea Salt and Pepper.
All right, my number 6 is another crossover.
Oh, nice. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna guess this one. Is it Sea Salt and Pepper?
It's not Sea Salt and Pepper.
Okay.
It's another game. It's the highest co-op game that I've played this year. This is Spirit Island. I was very intimidated by playing Spirit Island the first time, right? Because when you get that board, you're like, I don't know what spirit I should play. I don't know how they play. I still don't know how to play this game. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I know how to play.
We're so fortunate, again, saying like that we have friends that that know the game in and out, that love playing this game, that will immediately kind of guide us as to like what things do. Yeah, because they have everything. They have like the case for it. They have almost, I want to say, all of the spirits. They kind of can guide us like, oh, you want to play this one because this other person will be more defense, you're more offense. You could destroy more cities and towns and colonists or invaders. That's what they called. Yeah. But I every time I play this game, I find a new kind of way of being effective in this game. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, and it really comes down to what character you pick, right? And being like, this is what the character focuses on, and you're like, oh, that's interesting, right? And kind of going down that rabbit hole. Yeah, each playthrough has been because that first time I played I think the Firebird, and I was just blowing up everything in my area, but like everyone else's locations were on fire in terms of invaders. Yeah. Then the second round, I think I played the the toad that had it's like an anglerfish, I think, the little like color thing. Yeah. So you drag invaders into your area and then you create fear. And fear is such a big part of this game because that creates end conditions. Yeah. There's so much depth to this game, and to the point where you can't really, quarterback this game because you're so focused on what you're trying to mitigate in your own area. This game is great. I want to play more of this game. It's like if we didn't have friends that love this game, I probably would have this game too. Yeah. This is my number 6, Spirit Island. Nice, good choice. So before I get into my number 5, I want to say that my top 5 is pretty interchangeable. Really? The top 5 is pretty interchangeable. And any of these games could be my number 1 game of the year that I played. Really? So it's really hard to kind of rank these. But my number 5 is one that I've only played once. But it was such a good playthrough that it kind of really stayed with me. And if I play this a couple more times or a number more times, I could see this being my number 1. This is a game that surprised me that when I played it, I didn't think I was going to love it. And I knew about this game for a while, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to play this or not. But you brought it to the table. This is Grand Austria Hotel. Oh. Yeah. This one really surprised me. This is not a game that I would put. Yeah. This is not a game I think I would put on my, before I played it, would even be on my list to play. But it really surprised me. It's a really, really crunchy dice placement game. And I love the way turn order works in this. I love the way you roll a die and they correspond to specific actions. Right. And from turn to turn, one action could be more scarce than the other, and you really have to plan for that. Right. That's one that aspect of it really, really stayed with me. It was very clever. I'm surprised I don't see that in more games. Right. But it really worked for me. And it was a surprisingly a lot more thematic than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be one of those dry Euros that's not really thematic. But it is. It has some theme to it that I really enjoyed. Yeah. And it just really surprised me. And I definitely do want to play this game a couple more times. Oh, that's great. To really solidify where it is in terms of how much I enjoy it. Yeah. So, but my number 5, Grand Austria. Grand Austria is great. My number 5 is a game that this is my highest game that I've only played once this year. But again, this one blew me away so much that I had to buy it, and I tried to teach it, but it's just such a bulky game to teach. It's just a big game. This is a Vital Lacerda game. This is Lisboa.
Nice.
I first played Lisboa at Dice Tower East. I was walking around, and there was a guy with a players wanted flag, and I saw it was Lisboa, and I looked at the clock. It said 2 p.m. and I was like, I could have went upstairs for a nap, but I'll sit down and play Lisboa. My wife went upstairs to take a nap,
and then
she came down 4 hours later, and I was still playing Lisboa. But this game was like, it was a good learning game, but we were again fortunate that we got a person that loved the game and was able to teach us. And this game has just so much crunch to it. My brain was melted by the time I was done with it, but like in like the grilled cheese melt kind of way. It was that good. If I could relate to anything, because you're basically rebuilding the town of Lisbon after it got hit by an earthquake, a flood, and a fire. And it's so complicated to say what you do in this game because I'm not entirely sure I get it myself. But you have, instead of 2 things you can do in your turn, you can have 2 paths you could take on your turn. And each path has different actions that like almost branch out. So you can build ships, you can influence nobles, you can, you can build buildings, build stores, you can clear rubble. And clearing rubble is important because that lets you build more ships and have more room for resources.
Yeah.
This game is a bear to learn, but at the end of it, I couldn't stop thinking of that game.
Yeah.
Too much to that point where I went out and bought the game because I was like, I need to play more Lacerda games because the theme, to me, it just hit me so hard. I fell for this game like hook, line, sinker.
Nice.
This game is great. This is Lisboa.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely want to play that game.
Yeah.
Definitely got to.
We need to start it early.
Yeah, we got to start it early and make sure we don't have anything going on 4 hours later.
Yeah. I'm hoping it won't take 4 hours.
My number 4 is another game that I played only one time this year. But I think this was my favorite play of any game this year. I just need to play this more.
Number 4, huh?
Number 4, yeah. This is Wonderland's War.
Ah, okay. I was wondering if you would have it higher.
Yeah, I loved Wonderland's War. One, I love the theme. I'm a big thematic gamer, and this theme really hits. And whenever a game has 2 phases to it, I kind of always clock if a phase is more enjoyable than the other and what that margin is. And I feel like both phases in this game is really enjoyable.
Right.
Really enjoyed that. And yes, this is a really, really long game. I think we played like 3 hours. And usually long games is not totally my thing. But this game does something that I really enjoy in a game that if it's going to take that long does, which it keeps you fully engaged in every player's turn. You're paying attention to what other players do at all times.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which, if you're going to be 3 hours long, I kind of want you to do that. And it really does that.
Yeah, and also you get to bid, too, on who you think is going to win. And if you lose, you actually get a shard, and those are negative points at the end of the game.
Yeah, it
forces you to pay attention.
And really kind of be invested, too.
Yeah.
You're invested in another player's turn.
Yeah.
So it's really, I thought that was really clever mechanic to add in there, knowing that it's a long game. And I just think it really, really works. It's kind of weird thinking of it as it's an Alice in Wonderland area control game.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a weird marriage of terms of theme and mechanics.
Right.
But it really works. And I really enjoyed it. And I definitely want to get it to the table more. I know it's harder because it's a long game, but definitely want to play this a couple more times.
Yeah, and there's just like what I hadn't mentioned before is there's so much replayability, right? Because each of the tokens, there's 4 different, sets that you could play with. Yeah. And depending on the card that you draw, it could greatly change the effect of what some of these chips do during the game. Yeah. Yeah, I really agree with you. Wonderland's War is a great game. I think it needs to get played more.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's my number 4.
Number 4. Number 4 for me was my biggest surprise of the year because I did not expect this game to be good. I played this again at Dice Tower East. This was a lot of my new gaming this year was there, and I started this game at midnight. It was the only game available that some guy had a flag for. I played a 3-player game with it, and I was like, man, this game is so good. This is Acquire.
Okay.
Acquire is an economic game. I didn't expect it to be good. I looked at the board. I looked at the little blocks that go into it. I was like, oh man, this is going to be a chore, but at least I'll cross this off the list.
Yeah.
About halfway through the game, I was nearly out of money, and in my mind, I was like, I got to get back to the room and find out how to buy this on Amazon. Because this game, oh man, yeah. I didn't think paper money would convince me it's a good game. I didn't think the board would convince me it's a good game. This game is just a good game.
Yeah, it's great.
It's surprising how almost like tactical it is in what you do, because drawing these little tiles is all random, right? As you're playing them on the board, you're trying to anticipate when your opponent is trying to merge, hotels together, and you want to be, the primary or secondary shareholder because you get money off of that. So when you see one of your opponents buy more stocks in a certain hotel, it's like, do I want to buy more stocks? Do I want to? It's like, are you forcing me to buy more?
Yeah.
It's like, is this a ploy? Like, I don't know if you have the ability to combine. And then 2 turns later, he'll make it bigger, and he'll be like, oh, you made me buy this for no reason.
Yeah.
And then I brought this back to our group, and our group, I think, for the most part, really enjoyed this game. I think one of our friends actually bought this during her trip out to Arizona this past Christmas. But yeah, no, Acquire is such a great game. I'm so glad I sat down and played because I don't think I would have discovered this game. This is my number 4. This is Acquire.
Nice. Good choice. So my number 3 is another 2-player game.
Another 2-player
It's
game.
another 2-player game, another 2-player battle game, and I was really anticipating this one, and I had a feeling I would really enjoy this, so I'm glad I did. This is Radlands. This is a 2-player game. This is kind of a post-apocalyptic Mad Max style 2-player game in which you are defending your area. And you have the main resource is water that you have to pay for everything, and water is really, really, really scarce. And you really have to decide how you want to utilize that scarce of a resource to do what you need to do to defend yourself and attack the other player.
Right.
I was kind of surprised by it because as I was reading the rule book, and I had a feeling the water thing and the scarcity wasn't really going to work for me because I don't like games in which you get to your turn and you feel like you can't do anything. I think part of it is because it's so thematic. That's because this is a post-apocalyptic. It's supposed to feel like what you're doing is hard to do. That it's really scarce. You have water as resources. Water is hard to come by, so it kind of really works. And because it's a 2-player game, it's really snappy. It's kind of like it's going to get back to the other opponent. It's going to come back to you fairly quickly.
Right.
That it doesn't have that feeling playing like another game with 4 or 5 players and you can't do anything, and then it's going to take a while to come back to you. So it doesn't have that feeling. But I just feel like it really worked thematically, and I kind of really got into it. Definitely want to table this a couple times more. But yeah, I really had fun with this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Radlands is not on my list. I just found the game a little too tight for my taste.
I get it. Yeah,
like the water for me was my biggest issue. Is that I feel like every couple turns I was buying that water tower, trying to get that 4th resource. I wish there was something more that I could just do in the game.
Yeah.
That like sometimes some of the cards weren't I couldn't churn out the cards as fast as I wanted to.
Yeah, there's a lot of hoping for one card when you draw that you can utilize because I think you only have a handful of cards. A couple
this
cards
is shared deck, so it's a pretty decent size.
Yeah.
I wish it was faction specific or
asymmetrical.
Yeah, or if you could discard it. I don't know. I don't know how I would change it, but I haven't played it in a while. But I didn't. Yeah, I didn't utterly hate it, but it was also something I.
Not your thing.
I wouldn't. Yeah, it wasn't my type of 2-player game that I was playing.
No worries. Totally understand though. Those things I felt like wouldn't have worked for me either. That's normally things I don't like in games, but for some reason I really enjoyed it in this.
Yeah.
Don't know what it is, but it just really worked for me. But yeah, that's my number 3, Radlands.
That's a great choice. All right, my number 3 is another crossover, and I feel like we're going to cross over for the last 3.
Yeah.
Do you know what 3 would be?
Crossover?
You've said it.
Grand Austria Hotel.
It's the other one.
The other one. Seesaw and Paper?
It's Seesaw and Paper.
Nice.
Yeah, Seesaw and Paper. I like card games. Kind of like Scout. If Scout had come out this year, it probably would be on my top 10 as well. But when I got Seesaw and Paper, I had kind of seen the hype that was behind it, and I bought it thinking our group would like it. And I want to say our group utterly enjoys this game as well. We play this up to 4 players. We play for, like when you play cards, it's just, you just draw cards. Do you have a duo card, like a set of 2 cards that you can play, if not an effect. This is a great game that we use as a filler between our bigger games. And sometimes it just turns into just a game that kind of like runs into dinner or past dinner.
Yeah.
I've gotten to the point where I bought a second copy of this. And I have it at work because I know my work group is going to like this game too.
Good stuff.
So that's, what you said, everything about Seesaw and Paper I agree with. I think this is a great game. I think I'm at a point where this is actually, I like this better than Scout.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah.
And I think that, I'm going to be playing Seesaw and Paper for a while. That new expansion that's out, the Extra Salt.
Yeah.
I'm going to look for that.
Nice.
Yeah. It only adds like, I think 8 cards.
Oh, okay.
So I think I'll be okay.
Nice.
But yeah, that's my number 3, Seesaw and Paper.
Cool. Good stuff. So my number 2 is a game that we actually reviewed earlier this year, or a couple videos ago. A game that got a lot of hype that really surprised me, because sometimes I can be averse to like hype in a game. And even when we reviewed it, I was trying to find cons of it, and I couldn't find a ton of cons. This is Earth. This is a game that just really works for me.
My number 2 is Earth.
That's hilarious.
We share the same number.
Nice, good stuff. I mean, everything I like about the game, you can watch our video of the review. It just really works. It's a point salad type of game. But it feels like every turn you're accomplishing something, no matter what you do, and that just really, really works for me in this game.
There are nights I wake up and I think to myself, I could have made more compost. Sometimes I like, when you zone out and you daydream, I'm like, I could have been more efficient with my compost.
Nice.
Sometimes I think of myself that, and I'm like, oh man, I really like Earth.
I think about that too in terms of like, oh man, I could have picked a different strategy there, but everything is viable, so it's kind of like you're still having fun. You're just trying to see how high you can get in terms of points.
Yeah, like there's some games where I'm like, I want to build out just one color if I can.
Yeah.
And it never works out well. Our group just loves like pounding us down in terms of points. I think I've lost like 2 games by at least 100 points. But I built like 7 yellow cards, so that's great. That's I love it.
Yeah, like if you're trying to accomplish something, like see what happens, you can do that in this game, and still have a really good fun time.
Yeah, one thing I do notice though is that I think the person that wins typically takes the green action more often than everyone else. The more that we play it. Okay. Because I never take the green action, and I lose by a whole bunch.
You know what's funny? I don't either. I usually wait till other people play it.
Yeah, but I think like taking that green actually gives you 2 cards to play.
It gives you 2 cards.
Gives you more effects, possibly.
True, and that's also like it's whether or not you have the resources to play 2 cards.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, if you have the cards and the soil to pay for it.
Yeah.
And in most cases, I never have the soil or the cards. I just don't know how. I don't know how to play this game, but I love this game.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. I don't think I've won a game yet, but it's a great game. It's a very fun game.
Yeah.
That's our number 2.
That's number 2.
So I guess I go straight to number 1.
Let's go. Oh wait, do you have honorable mentions?
I do have honorable mentions.
5.
I have 6 honorable mentions here.
6. Okay.
All of these games I enjoyed playing this game. This year it was my first time playing it. Could have been in my top 10, just didn't make it. Number 11 is Space Station Phoenix. Really good.
I thought you liked this game.
I thought it was going to be
your number 1.
I thought it was going to be in my 10. We only played it once. I just definitely needed more plays, but it was a very fun tech tree game. I don't know what your number
1 is then.
Yeah. It's a very fun tech tree game. Number 12 on my list was Heat. Don't normally love racing games, but this one really worked for me. Got to play this a couple more times, but it does things that I enjoy better than other racing games that I played.
If I had played Heat as a 2023 first time, it would have been on my top 10.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Number 13 is Inish.
Oh, Inish.
Yeah, it was a great area majority game. We played it once at 3. I think this game needs to be played at 4. I think if you played it at 4, this might have been on my top 10. And from what I understand, this is a game that has to be played at 4.
Yeah, I was okay with Inish.
Yeah, it's fun.
I would play it
playing.
again, but I was kind of like, I was on cruise control when I was playing it. It felt like I was just going through the motions of everything to this.
I can see that.
But yeah, I'll be down to play it again. See if it improves.
Yeah, no worries. And number 14 was Marvel Zombies. First time playing Zombicide system game. I love Marvel. We played as the zombies a couple times. It was pretty fun. I really enjoyed it. Got to get this to the table a couple more times to really explore everything that this game has to offer. But definitely an enjoyable time. Number 15 was World Wonders.
Really?
Great tile lane game.
Wow.
Really surprised me. It wasn't on my list. To try. But it really stayed with me. I definitely want to play this at a higher play count. And really, now that I know how this game flows, I definitely want to give this a couple more time. Could go higher, could go lower. I'm not sure, but the first that playthrough was fun.
Didn't make my list. I wasn't entirely. I didn't fall for it at 2. I think it needs to have maybe 3 or 4. Yeah. Like, I think it was a little too loose in terms of what was open to the board for me.
Yeah, it definitely needs to be played at a bit higher player count, but it definitely was a fun time. Yeah. Number 16 was Abyss.
Abyss didn't make your list?
It didn't, but I enjoyed Abyss.
I thought you and I would cross over with Abyss.
No, Abyss is fun. I love... What? I feel like I like every Catala game I played. And I like Abyss... But it just didn't hit it for me.
What is your number 1 now? I don't even know. I thought I do.
Oh, you wouldn't...
What? Are you sure?
You know my number 1, trust me.
You sure?
Yeah. Number 17 is Final Girl. Got that to the table. It was a fun time. This is the base set. Didn't play any of the other sets, just the base one, which is kind of like the guy with the pig face. I can't remember the name of that set. It was really fun. It's a really hard game. Right. Don't play a lot of solo player game. I feel like with solo games, I get really tired of it. But I played it and really got the appeal of it. Yeah. Got to play it a couple times, see if I can finish this set. I don't know if I'm going to do a deep dive into everything that Final Girls has to offer. Right. But I enjoyed my playthrough of Final Girls a couple times I played it. It's a really hard game, though. Number 1.
Wait. Oh. Do you want me to do my...
Oh, yeah, you're honorable mention. My bad.
So I have 5. So 11, remember, was Fantastic Factories.
Nice.
I was a little heartbroken this didn't make the list because I really enjoyed it. I thought it would have made the list. Number 12 was Fiction. This one, really, I was surprised it didn't make my top 10 because I love playing Fiction. It's one of those games where it's one versus everyone. That one has a word. And they're the librarian. Yeah. That everyone else is playing like a Wordle type game. So you present the librarian a 5-letter word. The librarian has to lie about 1 letter in that word, and then it continues, and the group has to guess the word within 10 tries. Very, very great game. Okay, nice. I'm surprised this didn't make my top 10. Along with that, we had Marvel Zombies. If I had played Marvel Zombies, I think 2 more times, this would have made the top 10. Yeah. And Spirit Island probably would have fallen off. Because Marvel Zombies surprised me by a whole lot. Nice. I didn't think I would like it. Yeah. I'm surprised when we opened it and we set it up. I was hesitant to even sit down and play it. But after that first play, I was like, man, this is such a good game. I should have played more of this. Number 14 is Orleans. I played this at the World Series of Board Gaming for the first time. It was a bag builder. I got utterly destroyed, but the mechanics were really solid. You have a board and you can hire like different adventurers into your bag, and then they do different effects. I want to try to play it again, and maybe at 3 or 4, but it was good enough that it made this list for me. And then finally, number 15 was Splendor Duel. I love Splendor. Splendor Duel was pretty up there, but I've only played it once.
I thought it was going to be in your top 10.
Yeah, I thought so too. The Splendor Duel was, I think it just hit a little too complicated for my taste. And Splendor is simple in itself. I don't know how often I would pull out Splendor Duel, especially since it's a 2-player. And I tend to like games with like at least 3 or 4 nowadays.
Nice.
But that was my top 5. there were some great games this year that didn't even make the top 15.
Yeah.
Like Hooky, which I played the first time, and then also Battle of Versailles, which I just played recently. That was a great game too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So I'll go with my number one. My number one is a game that every time that I've played it has been really tense, really nail-biting experience, and also one that's just kind of like everyone is engaged, and it's made every game really, really enjoyable. This is the economic game Acquired.
Really?
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I like economic games just in general.
Wow.
And I feel like this really hit for me.
I didn't know you like it this much.
Yeah, no,
I'm surprised.
I really enjoyed it.
Wow.
Enjoyed this game. I love the tile draft, not drafting, but tile bag building, I guess, and just kind of like anticipating things to happen and when it doesn't happen, it's kind of going. Your strategy has changed. It's a very tactical game, by the way. Your strategy is changing and just kind of like waiting for things to happen and whether or not to invest in certain hotels and not to. It's really a crunchy, tense game, but really good.
Yeah,
it's one of those that's kind of like the production is okay. It's fine. It's a Hasbro game. It could be a lot better.
I think Restoration remade it.
Did Restoration?
Or Renegade?
Renegade. Yeah, that's true. Damn, I wonder what it was like before. But I feel like the production is okay, but the gameplay is just really, really sound, just simple fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just really works. You're really only doing two things. You're drawing and placing.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I feel like everyone I've ever taught this to, and then when I played it for the first time too, we were just surprised at what we could do in this game.
Yeah.
And we're like, huh, it's that simple. Oh, you could do this. I'm like, oh, this stuff happens.
Yeah.
And then seeing a merger, I don't know why it gets the adrenaline pumping when I see a merger happen, but I'm like, money.
Yeah. Yeah, the merger thing is such a fun thing. It's like, okay, what's happening and how does that affect me?
Yeah.
How is it impacting everyone else on the board? What is the stand-in after this merger?
Yeah.
Which is very clever for an economic game, and it just really works, yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
I did not expect Acquired to be your number one this year. Okay.
Yeah, cool. But that's my number one.
All right. My number one, it wasn't even close. I knew my number one when I started making this list. It was the very first game that I played at Dice Tower East.
Can I guess this?
Oh,
I don't know what this is. This is Grand Austria, is it?
It's Grand Austria Hotel. I played this for the first time at Dice Tower East. Not, I was excited to get this to play, so I pulled it out. Two people sat with us who had luckily already played the game.
Yeah.
And I was just blown away by the mechanics of what you do in this game. There are a few games that I have come across that put me in the person's like in the position of what you're actually doing. Like say for example Terraform, right? Sometimes I'll imagine myself as the corporation, the CEO of the corporation, and I'll be like, okay, I'm making choices for future generations.
Yeah.
In Grand Austria, I put myself right in the seat of like, I'm the hotel manager. I'm trying to welcome guests in and give them a table. And I'm trying to feed them as quick as possible so I can put them in a room. Yeah. But I need the food to give them. And then I feed them, but I don't have a room to open up. So I need to open up rooms for them. Well, but I don't have the money to open up the rooms. I need money. Yeah. And all these dice that you have gives you one of those, 6 different things. So you even have staff that you can add that give you different abilities. This game just offers so many efficiency puzzles that I was just so blown away by. I adore this game. Yeah. I think I watched, I think the Brothers Murph and Foster the Meeple put this on their top lists for I think either this year or all time. And rightly so, because it definitely deserves to be there. This game is amazing. I think our group is par with it. Some of them like it, some of them don't like it as much.
Yeah, I think you and I like it the most.
Yeah, and I think also one of our other friends, Keith, also likes this game a lot too. But I love the snake action draft too. Like you might be first, but you also have the worst action at the very end. Like so you're optimizing at the very beginning, but very less optimized at the end. I think being 4 and 5 is actually your best benefit because you get a double turn.
Yeah, the turn order in this game is really good. How it works. Yeah, it's just clever. I like it.
Yeah, there are times I wake up thinking, man, I could have just opened up 2 more rooms. I could have gotten 2 more money to feed 2 more people. If I had just put the Prince of Denmark in a room, I would have won that game.
Yeah.
And like, it just blew me away. This game, this game is great. I
Nice.
highly recommend this game. This is a Grand Austria Hotel.
Cool, great choice.
Yeah.
Cool, and with that said, that is our top 10 games that are new to us in 2023.
Yep, this was a great year of gaming. I think
100%.
We definitely played more games than we've ever played.
Yeah.
And since we started this channel, we're getting more games to the table. Like we were discovering a lot of really good games,
really great games.
Yeah,
and I like the fact that we don't focus mainly on games that come out this year.
Yeah,
that we go back and try to find games that we hear are really good older games and see if it really works for us.
Yeah, because like the hobby tends to kind of like they kind of go pretty quickly over newer games.
Yeah,
and we're really just trying to again catch up to everybody. But we like calling out these games we're just discovering as we're catching up to them too.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
cool. Well, thank you for watching. We'll catch you on the next adventure.